In January 2020, the PGA Tour announced that they had surpassed $3 billion with a B dollars in all-time charitable giving. What does that even mean? And how does the tour event have local and regional impact? Let's find out now on The Business of Golf. Welcome into Business of Golf. I'm Allison Johnson, and I'm here with my co-host Adam Grubb. 2020 was a difficult year for everyone. I can't even imagine how hard fundraising would be. Adam, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I know that there's a lot of ways that people are having to pivot to garner money and fundraising and figure out all their galas are now postponed. How do they possibly generate the kind of cash that's needed for charities and contributions? I'm excited for our guest today to learn kind of what 2020 brought, but maybe what giving will look like in the future because of what's happened here in the last 12 to 18 months.
Well, and as you know, here at the Business of Golf, we're talking about how money is made and spent in the industry. And so we have with us a PGA Tour Tournament Director, Executive Director of Sanderson Farms Championship, Steve Jent. Steve, thanks for being here with us.
Hey, thank you. Happy to be here.
So you had a really big year in 2020. You broke your own record in charitable giving by donating $1.4 million from the proceeds of the Sanderson Farms Championship during a pandemic with no fans. Tell us how you did that.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty amazing. And when we were looking at the numbers, kind of when it was all said and done, I think it was kind of hard for us to believe as well. I think for us, it started 7 or 8 years ago when Joe Sanderson and the folks at Sanderson Farms took over the title sponsorship of our event. And they're a Mississippi family. The company's been in business since 1947. And they've just done business the right way. They treat people the right way, and everybody buys into what they believe in and promote. When Joe said he wanted to be the title sponsor of the tournament about 7 years ago, he said, I want to do it for two reasons. One is I don't want Mississippi to lose its only PGA Tour event. And I also want the money to go, the primary fundraising, the money to go to Batson Children's Hospital, or at the time, and now it's Children's of Mississippi. We've got the Batson Tower and the Sanderson Tower I'll talk about in a minute. But he said, I want the funds from the tournament to go to that organization. And so everyone really just kind of got behind that. I think we're fortunate that Sanderson Farms is a $4 billion company that buys $3.5 billion worth of goods and services. So a lot of their business partners get on board. But, Mississippi is a very giving state. And so we've got a lot of great sponsors that jumped on board too. And with 2020 being a tough year, everybody just, understands what we're going through because they're going through it in their own businesses, they're going through it in their lives and their communities. And when you're trying to raise money to build a new tower for the sick kids of Mississippi, it was pretty easy to get everybody behind it.
Steve, for those that don't know, explain the process and the reasoning behind the tournament and PGA tournament that is giving money. How does the charitable contributions work in the PGA and specifically with golf tournaments? Sure.
I mean, essentially, I always talk about we have three buckets, right? I put on a tournament. I partner with the PGA Tour to be able to run a tournament, with the PGA Tour's logo, the PGA Tour FedEx logo, the Sanderson Farms Championship logo. So most PGA Tour events are run by a nonprofit host organization, right? So I actually work for a group called Century Club Charities. We own and operate the Sanderson Farms Championship. We essentially sell three buckets of goods, right? We sell branding, we sell pro-ams, and we sell hospitality. And out of those three buckets of goods, we create our revenue that allows us to run the tournament, right? That revenue allows us to rent the shuttle buses and to feed the players and feed the caddies and build the grandstands and everything that it takes to run a PGA Tour event. So, throughout the year, we're going out in the community, asking a company, are you interested in entertaining a client in a pro-am atmosphere? Or would you rather entertain them over the course of 4 days in a private chalet or a shared skybox? Or would you like to put your name on something? The sponsor of the pro-am or on a hole sign or something like that. So out of those three buckets comes our top line revenue. We pay our expenses, and we're fortunate to have enough left over to make a charitable impact. I'm Century Club Charities. At the AT&T Byron Nelson, it's the Salesmanship Club. Out at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, it's the Thunderbirds. So for the most part, I mean, if you take the majors and the World Golf Championships and some of them out of the equation, we're all run by local nonprofits. They're in it for our communities.
So what do you do for the rest of the year? You've talked about how the week of the tournament is structured and works, but what about the rest of the year? Is it a 1 week and done, or tell us about that?
Yeah, you sound like all of our friends who go, hey, you work for 1 year of the week, right? And then the rest of the year you're playing golf.
I've heard that myself.
Going to the beach or whatever. I look at it as most of us as executive directors, tournament directors, we're really kind of small business owners where, I mean, we've got sales, marketing, operations, human resource considerations. We're running, 11, 12, 15, $20 million small businesses throughout the year. So, once one tournament is over and there's a little bit of cleanup, you turn around and you're working almost immediately on the next year's event. And I would even tell you that once the train's going downhill on any current year event, you get to a point where you really can't make any changes, but you're already talking about changes for the next year, right? Hey, I know we're building those skyboxes, but next year, let's do this. So it's almost a 15, 16-month cycle. But once we clean up, have a little chance to take our breath, I mean, we're already going at it for next year. We're talking to sponsors. We're following up with volunteer groups. So I have a staff of 6, which is probably a little small for a typical standalone PGA Tour event. But others, have, 8, 10, 12, and we're at it all year long. So whether it's operations, looking at things, sales, getting out in front of sponsors, there's really something to do all year long. And sometimes I feel like I could use a couple extra weeks, but it's not like I'm here 1 week of the year for sure.
What are the next couple of years look like, and what changes were made in 2020 because of the pandemic that you might stay with or keep moving forward because they work so well?
Yeah, I was kind of hoping y'all would tell me what the next couple of years are going to look like, because I don't know that anybody knows what next week's going to look like, right? We're hopeful by the time we roll around in September that we can have, we're already transitioning back on the PGA Tour to, limited spectators at some of the events. And I know the players in the tour want spectators back. You can see at Waste Management last week that, to hear the roars back was so cool, right? When Brooks hit his chip over there on, I think it was 17. But, we're hopeful that we'll have spectators back in the fall. What's going to be interesting to me is, a lot of people have been impacted, by the virus. And I think we won't really know until this summer what companies can do from a hospitality and entertainment standpoint. Some of them have been impacted and have corporate policies that just won't allow them to gather, guests in a location, probably throughout 21. I think everybody's hoping 22 gets back to normal, but we'll see. I would tell you that I think in 21, even in us in September, we'll still have some concessions. We'll still have to do some health and safety things. We may still have to wear masks. I don't know or think that we'll be quite to where we were in 19 by the end of this year, but God, we're all hopeful, right? We all want it to come back. So,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think, your second question was, what is COVID, what kind of changes does that make? And I think what it did is, we had to make some alterations that we probably wouldn't have done. Media center set up, right? Player dining, shuttle buses. So there were some things that came out of it that we're looking at it going, hey, this probably is something we want to keep. We kind of flipped the setup of our volunteer center, and it worked out really well for us. So while it forced our hand to making some changes that when you look back in hindsight, we probably wouldn't have looked at otherwise, but are going to turn out to be something we want to continue.
So in a normal year, non-COVID year, a lot of fans see exactly what goes on in a tournament when you're on the course, but outside of the ropes, give us a look at what else goes on tournament week that people may not be aware of at home.
Yeah, I think it's I think there's just a lot of facets to it that all have to come and work together, right? From a PGA Tour side, you have a rules advanced official that comes in the week before, who's marking the course and getting the golf course ready for the competition. And then you have operations folks from the tour coming in to work with our operations folks on things like roping and staking, right? A lot of time the roping and staking for the spectator lines actually helps to protect the Golf Channel and the broadcast cabling. So then you have, that's another aspect. You have Golf Channel come in, and they're getting set up to do the production. On the country club side, there's a variety of things that go on from a country club standpoint, from the food and beverage preparation, getting everything cleaned, getting everything staged, and then the build out for us. And we're in a smaller community. I mean, I'm not the size of Phoenix, right? I mean, the state of Mississippi has half the population of the Dallas metro area, but our build takes us about 8 weeks. So from the time that our vendors come in to build our structures and our tents and everything, is about an 8 week build time, and then it takes us about 4 or 5 weeks to clean up. So, leading up to the tournament, there's just a lot of things that throughout the year you've got to have a detailed plan to make sure that, all right, so we're going to build this skybox in 18, but we've got to let the superintendent know that, because we have to mark sprinkler systems, and we're going to put this signage behind this green, and members are going to have their view of that green blocked for a few weeks, right? So it's really important that the host organization, the golf club, the superintendent, agronomy, the tour, everyone is kind of working in sync to make the event happen. I don't know if that answers it, but hopefully you get it a little bit.
It's shocking how many people it takes, how many organizations, how many people in unison. You said you have a team of 6, but there are hundreds and hundreds of people that are utilized to put on an event. The town that you guys are in, and you talked about it at the top of the program, really comes together and rallies for this tournament. And this is a big weekend. Anytime you have a tournament somewhere that is in the middle part of the country, that St. Louis, Indianapolis, some of the areas that I've been to with tournaments, it's like the whole city is there, and they're really excited to have these pros there, the TV. Are you guys used to that yet, or is the town still very excited every year when something like this happens?
No, I think everybody's pretty pumped up. This past year, you hated it because we had one of our best fields ever, and spectators couldn't see it. But it was our second year as a standalone PGA Tour event, which means all of the best players don't have another event that they're committed to. And so we're looking forward to another year of this. But we know each year the excitement level grows. We're the only major league professional event in the state. You've got great college football, great college baseball, other sports, but we're the only continual major league professional event. So yeah, the community and all the surrounding communities, the city of Jackson and all of this area, jumps in and to support what we're doing. I think we're in a great spot in the fall. We're always going to fight, and fight's probably not the best word, but we're always going to be up against SEC football, which is huge, right? And Ole Miss has had some great years this year. State's been a great program. But instead of worrying about whether they're home or away, we've chosen to kind of embrace it. So we do some things on site with some tailgating, some video screens, say, hey, come out to the Sanderson Farms Championship. You can also watch your college football, whether you're a State, an Ole Miss, a Southern, a Jackson State fan. You can do that at the golf course. So trying to provide a little bit for everybody to come out to the tournament.
Steve, do you know the impact of the financial situation for the community every year? Is that touted? Is that reported on as far as all the money that trickles out into other areas of the city?
Yeah, no, we talk about it quite a bit. So, like Allison mentioned, we gave 1.45 million to the Children's Hospital, and then we gave another 250,000 to about 40 or 50 other charities outside of Children's of Mississippi. So Stew Pot, which is a local soup kitchen, the First Tee, Mustard Seed, Make-A-Wish. There's about 40 other charities that we impact, through the tournament. But the local economic impact is somewhere between $26 and $30 million a year to the local economy, and that comes in the way of hotel rooms. It's players, it's caddies. The Golf Channel brings 150 people that are here for a week. The vendors that build those tents and those skyboxes bring a bunch of folks. And then the week of, you've got players dining in restaurants. You've got Sanderson Farms bringing in about 500 people to entertain throughout the week in hotels, going out to dinners at night. We estimate, again, it's close to $30 million for the week. We create about 300 jobs in the central Mississippi area just that 1 week. So we're pretty proud of the impact that week makes on both, not only just the region, but the state of Mississippi, and let alone the Golf Channel broadcast. Right, we're showcasing Mississippi to over 330 million households worldwide, and what a great way to say, what your home state and your community's like.
And then you add on top of that, 45 countries and territories that the tour broadcasts to, plus live streaming. I mean, the reach is infinite.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out social media. I mean, I'm on all those sites just to kind of watch it, but I'm going to take your numbers because But you're right.
And this is the number I'm using from back in the day, absolutely. So my number is probably a little small.
It's an incredible reach, and we're proud to be one of close to 50 events on the PGA Tour, and we're proud of what we could do in 2020.
Well, you're doing a tremendous job. I mean, small staff, local tournament, but global impact. And that is it's tremendous. And kudos to you, especially reaching all of your goals in a pandemic it's amazing.
I have to give a shout out to one thing we did mention is I've got almost 300 Century Club members, and I've got over 1,000 volunteers that give up their vacation, their days off work, and they actually pay for their uniform packet to stand out in the sun and hold up those hush paddles. So
they're doing a great job.
It takes an army, but thank you. We're proud of what we're doing.
Well, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
So Adam, I think what we're hearing is when you're at home watching live golf on TV, that is just a microcosm of what is actually happening behind the scenes from an economic standpoint, a charitable impact, the amount of people and teams that come together to create these live sporting events for us at home. I think it's just amazing.
It is, and it's something you never think about, because when you're sitting on your couch and you're watching the last 4 or 5 holes of a tournament, or you're locked in for all 4 days from 300, 800 miles away, you're not thinking about the ticket taker, you're not thinking about the merch tent, you're not thinking about the charitable contributions, and in fact, some might not even realize that there is so much money given in a local community to charitable organizations because of these tournaments, that it's not just TV rights and shirt sales at the tent. There's a lot that goes into it, and a lot that happens and impacts communities all over the place. And that's good for the communities, but it's good for golf. And I can't imagine Steve, we think it's stressful trying to get this little show together. I can't imagine what his year's like trying to get this up and running every year. Now, you've got obviously experience in that, Allison. You used to run some tournaments as well. Is it as stressful the entire year, or do you have some breathing room every now and then to just sit back and enjoy what you've put together?
You definitely have a little breathing room. I will tell you, though, it is so much fun. When you get to tournament week, that week, and Steve and I worked together on the Wyndham Championship for years, which is how I know him. And, you get to that week, and it is nonstop. You are just living, breathing, eating everything golf, and it is exhausting and exhilarating. And when it ends, the crash comes hard, but God, is it worth it? And then you get up, and like Steve said, then you're already thinking about what can we do differently for next year? So it's a lot of fun. And I love talking with these guests about all of the different aspects, because I forget what people don't know. And I also forget a lot of the behind the scenes stuff myself, because when you're in it, you are just going. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Thanks again to Steve Jent for joining us. It was a great conversation. And join us again next week on Business of Golf as we talk about how money is made and spent in the golf industry.